Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm going to be starting a brand new series called Decked Out Dragons, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Each episode I'm going to be taking a look at 3 different dragons and generally complimenting their appearance. We're going to factor in their colors, their genes, their skins and apparel, and maybe even their familiars and lore if they have some. And I'm not going to script this in advance. I'm just going to say what I think on the fly. One thing I do want to say before we start is that while this is critique-like in formula, I'm not going to be saying anything negative about the dragons because, Flight Rising's art is beautiful, it's well thought out, it's well articulated, and beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I've never once seen a dragon on Flight Rising that I thought was bad looking. Even if their colors didn't necessarily appeal to me, even if I thought, oh, you're Exalt fodder for sure, I've never thought any of them were ugly, so to speak. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people probably wouldn't share it, but that's okay. My point in saying that is I would much rather focus on the positives, whereas the negatives don't really come as naturally to me. Plus, come on, we're talking about cartoon dragons here, aren't we? I would much prefer to spend my time showering them with unconditional love. Speaking of showering things with unconditional love, I'm gonna be focusing on 3 dragons from my lair. If you want me to take a look at your dragons in the future and say a bunch of nice things about them, feel free to drop your username in the comments below. Don't hesitate to include the names of any dragons you have in mind in particular. These videos are going to be very self-indulgent and all in good fun, so you guys might as well have some fun too, right? Well, without further ado, let's get started. So here we have Icicles, the male Imperial, and he's a bit special to me, mostly because he was the first dragon I ever bought. At the time, I wasn't too concerned with how he looked. I was only concerned with him being a different element, because I mostly just bought him so I would have a 3rd dragon to grind with my progens. I didn't really understand what genes were at that time. I didn't really concern myself with aesthetics. I was just kind of getting on my feet, kind of figuring out what was going on. But despite not being concerned with aesthetics, I sure picked a gorgeous dragon. Robin Blue and Ice is like a match made in heaven for color combinations, especially because the shimmer gene gives it a bit of a gradient. The wings are darker inward and lighter outward, and that pattern is only highlighted by the skin, which is also darker inward and lighter outward. The white spots on his body are also a factor of the skin, and I think it complements him super nicely, especially considering the underbelly is basically the same exact color. But colors aren't the only thing that makes Icicles for me. It's also all of the Ice Festival gear he's decked out in, with a Spirit of Ice familiar to boot. So even though he's technically a water dragon, he is fully committed to the ice aesthetic. Next up, I've got Needly, the male Codal. So one thing I want to say is that he did not look like this when I got him. He did have a tertiary and it was smoke. And even though the latte color went really nicely with the others, I just thought he looked a little bit busy. I've been experimenting with the idea of giving him a new tertiary, but I think he looks best like this. Iridescent and Butterfly already look great together, so I think simple and clean is the best route. Anyway, what I love most about Needly has a lot to do with the way that male Codals look in general. They just look so adorable and eager and happy to be here. Now think about that in conjunction with the map kit apparel item I threw on him. Doesn't it kind of make him seem like he could be a go-getter explorer? You can totally envision him and his familiar soaring through the skies on some grand adventure, right? That's what I picture when I look at him anyway. Also, his earthy tones. He kind of looks like he could be a flower, doesn't he? Last but not least, we have Shine, the female sky dancer. She also didn't look like this when I got her. She had the secondary gene eye spots, which looked totally fine, but I really wanted her to glow. So I thought the best way to do that was to make her wings pure white. And I stand by that decision. I think she looks amazing. And if you look at her apparel, you'll notice that I did a lot of color coordinating. If you were to take an eyedropper and go throughout all of the apparel, you'd find that pretty much every color has a companion on the base dragon. And honestly, that's what I'm all about. One of my favorite things to do while I'm playing Flight Rising is pick out apparel that works so well on the dragon, it kind of blends in with them and becomes part of them. And I think I did a pretty good job of it here. Maybe it's because I look at her every day, but I just can't divorce those apparel from her anymore. She'd look naked without it. Even the Starry Regard eye apparel, which was kind of an afterthought, looks so natural that it's kind of like it was made for her. And pinks and yellows always look good together. The softer they are, the better, in my opinion. And Shine looks soft altogether, which is probably my favorite thing about her. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me gush about my dragons. Let me know what you guys think of them and this entire series concept in the comments. And I really hope you'll let me gush about yours too. I'll have some more substantial videos up later this month, so see you then!